What's up YouTube, Demi here with another spoiler video. So they've revealed 3 new skills today, as well as some other stuff, so we'll get into that. We've got Purifying Flame, Wave of Conviction, and Divine Ire, along with some modifiers to how Reduced Resistances skills work. So let's get into it. Purifying Flame is a physical and fire spell that's accessible to use at level 1. These are like expansions to the holy type spells. They're all physical damage spells that convert to fire or lightning, right? As it says up here. They're trying to make something Templar themed up on that part of the tree. So when cast, it sends out a wave that, when it arrives at the enemy, deals damage in a circle around it and consecrates the ground. The spell then sends out a damaging shockwave that affects enemies in a large area on any consecrated ground. This does 2 things: finishes off surviving enemies from your previous Purifying Flame cast, and creates interesting interactions with other sources of consecrated ground, like the on-hit stuff or the Inquisitor's on-hit. There's a flask that gives it an AoE, stuff like that. I believe there's also Gifts from Above consecrates enemies when you crit them, something like that. Interactions to consider are the Inquisitor or Sulfur Flexibility. Yeah, I just said that, okay. The next one is Wave of Conviction. It's a new level 16 skill, so that'll be like beginning of Act 2, I think. Sends out a cone of force that deals physical damage with a conversion of 25 to fire, 25 to lightning to every enemy in the area that the wave impacts. Wave lasts for a short duration, which means that both the AoE modifiers and duration modifiers influence the total area that it can reach. Okay. However, casting the skill again ends the current wave after a short time. This means that you can choose to cast the skill infrequently to hit a large area, or frequently to get more damage but less effective range. I don't know if I like that. If you can like affect how fast the wave travels, then maybe. Wave of Conviction also applies fire, lightning, or cold exposure to enemies. This is the new rework to reduce resistances from skills. It reduces the resist. This debuff is applied based on the highest elemental damage type that the skill does. So if you decide to convert it into like lightning damage, it'll always apply negative 25 lightning resist. If you do it fire, it does fire, right? This boosts the skill's own damage with repeated use, but also lets it function as a utility skill for casting on tough enemies alongside any other LE spell. So that means if you're playing like my Lightning Trap Saboteur, for example, you could have flat lightning to spells, which would mean that this becomes more lightning than fire since you have no added fire, which means it would give negative 25 lightning res. You tag it with that, and then you throw the traps. It's another like Frostbomb-esque style skill you can throw into builds with a little bit of like fine-tuning to make it actually work the way that you want it to. I don't know if you can get negative cold resist on it. It says, I mean, it says you can, but I don't know how you would get cold exposure. I guess if you convert, I guess if you had like a conversion Watcher's Eye or cold conversion on your skill tree, like down here maybe, if you took these nodes, you'd have some cold conversion. Then it would be 40% cold, 25% fire, 25% lightning. So you would get the cold conversion. You could negative cold resist enemies with it. Even if you're like an attack-based character, you could do that. Alright, so let's talk about reduced resistance. We've standardized a few other skills that reduce resist. Frostbomb now applies negative 25 cold exposure instead of negative resistance, instead of its resistance being part of the Frostbomb debuff. Scorching Ray now applies negative 25 while reaching 8 max stages. This change was made to give you a choice in how your elemental build reduces enemy resistances rather than providing more options that can be combined to reduce resist set up to unreasonably low levels. We'll provide more sources for fire, lightning, and cold exposure in the future. Hopefully soon. I don't know if they're going to do it in this next patch, but hopefully they have it soon. I believe that's the same as Frostbomb currently has. Scorching Ray was like per stage you got negative 4 or something, so it was higher. This is a slight nerf to Scorching Ray. But I guess you can get negative fire res from other things. I don't know if this stacks with LE Equilibrium. I don't know if they're reworking LE Equilibrium with this. It just has skills, not keystones, so it's hard to tell. And then Divine Ire, the third one, level 28, which is Act 3. It's a channeled skill that damages a few nearby enemies while charging up power, then unleashing a sudden deadly beam. We saw this in the trailer. Deals physical damage with 50% converted to lightning. It gains additional stages for each enemy zapped with the like charge up stage. And then you get a chance to gain an extra stage from normal and magic enemies. It always gains an additional stage against rare and unique enemies. This lets you charge and unleash the beam rapidly if you position yourself well. The beam reaches maximum width at 10 stages and maximum damage at 20. So the way this is meant to be played is if you're killing packs, you charge up, the main like zaps will kill all the little stuff, and then the beam should kill the rare in the middle of the pack, or finish off any stragglers basically. But let's go ahead and see what these look like. That's the first one. That's Purifying Flame. See how it's like throwing waves across the consecrated ground? It's pretty cool. I don't know, it seems interesting. Purifying Flame. Alright, this is Wave of Conviction. Okay, that has decent AoE actually. That looks really good. Pretty huge AoE if you let it, like, keep rolling. Okay. Kind of looks like you're playing a Spark character that doesn't have any bounce. It's just, like, always in the same AoE that it would normally cover. And there's your Divine Ire. Yeah, see how the charges kill the little stuff? And then you get channel charges from it, and then you release it to kill the rare. I like this one a lot. The only issue I think is it might not have enough like width to clear packs fully in really dense maps. Like that one, it might have missed a couple. But if the zaps do enough damage, then it wouldn't matter. And these are really cool, like really, really cool. I'm pretty excited to see how these work. They look like insanely good. I'm pretty excited to play with them. And of course you could stat stick these, so if you have physical damage to spells, it's really good. And if you add Shaper stat sticks or non-chaos is chaos, Ellie is chaos, phys is fire, cold, lightning stuff, they become even more powerful, and Inquisitor with the ability to ignore elemental resistances from your ascendancy, it doesn't matter what damage type you have, everything just deals full damage. So I'm going to guess we're gonna see an Inquisitor meta next league, with Consecrated Ground being the side benefit thing. There's gonna be a lot of Inquisitors and a lot of like Pathfinders and Elementalists using these skills. And the cool part is they're all like relatively generic skill trees. Like to play a generic caster, you take more or less, if a crit caster, for example, you take more or less all the same nodes. You're probably gonna want the AoE nodes, the spell damage nodes. I want a Scion tree right now, but whatever. You're gonna end up taking like spell crit over here, spell crit over here, crit multi over here, spell crit up here, and then like assassination for more spell crit. That's probably going to be like your main keystones for your damage on any spellcaster for a crit on the top side of the tree. And then if you really wanted to, you could take the unnatural. But that's all the spell crit stuff. After that, you just take life nodes and area damage nodes, whatever else you need. If you're going to take some reservation nodes, great. Jewel sockets, of course, but it's going to be a lot of builds using assassination, doomcast, heartseeker, or throatseeker, sorry. Annihilation, Arcane Potency, and then the Unnatural down there. We might see some, if you're on this side of the tree, you might stretch down to Heartseeker as well. But I'm going to bet that you're going to see a lot of top side of the tree crit spellcasters this league. It's going to be sick. All right, that's the skill reveals, though. They're awesome. Let me know what you guys think about them. And then we'll go into the two other things. So, because of all of our bitching about the Delve Sulfite Scarab changes, they've made it so that you always find 3 sulfites whenever you find Nico. You don't get the 1 to 3 anymore, you always get 3. So that's a pretty huge buff to the general sulfite generation as well as scarabs. You know, doing a scarab and getting 1 node felt like ass. Doing a map with Nico in it and finding 1 node felt pretty bad. It's guaranteed that you find 3 now. So that's pretty cool. You'll always find 3, which, I mean, consistency's sake, that's great. I didn't really like the fact that you could, it's like a chance or a range to gain sulfite from the node regardless, and there's also a range to get 1 to 3. So it's like if you got a lucky roll and then a lucky roll, you did the best. But that's a lot of RNG that we need to not have. We'd rather just have consistency. It's the same as Bestiary. You find 3, or you find like 3 to 7 beasts with Bestiary or more, and then Incursion you always find 3 temples. Syndicate you'll always find 3 encounters. So I feel like the 3 is good. Abyss 3 or 2 to 3 I think is with Abyss. Breach is 2 to 3. I think that's fine for consistency's sake. And the last thing is a new amulet that has a new aura attached to it. Hiri's Truth. We have Hiri's Ire. Oh god. There's a Quiver, Hiri's Bite, Hiri's Ire, and Hiri's Sight. I think something like that. There's like a bunch of Hiri's items, but this is another one. It gives level 22 Precision, which is an aura that gives accuracy rating and critical strike chance, reserves 35% of your mana. We don't have that many 35. I guess the Purities are 35, aren't they? Or are they 25? I think they're 35. Heralds are 25, Purities are 35. Hatred, Haste, whatever is 50. So another 35 aura, that's cool. Gives phys, cold to attacks, dex, crit multi, physical attack damage, reduces life. Depending on how this works, if it's increased critical strike chance or base critical strike chance is a really big difference here. Base critical strike chance just adds the crit to the weapon that you're using. So if I have, what is this? A 10% crit weapon, all of my percent increased crit stuff on like gear and on my skill tree and all that other garbage, that just multiplies based off this 10. So if I get 12% base crit from a 2% base crit increase, then it multiplies everything else to a lot higher, or everything else multiplies the base crit to a lot higher, I should say, which is pretty big. So that's good, right? That's a really, really powerful thing. Hopefully it's worth it. If it's percent increased accuracy versus flat accuracy, I don't know if that really matters. Unless you're like a dex stacking build, or sorry, not a dex, an accuracy stacking build, I don't think it really matters, because then the dex stacking builds they want, wow, what do I keep saying? The accuracy stacking builds, they stack a lot of flat. They want to get multipliers from the percent. So if it gives percent, that's good for them. Otherwise, it's about the same for everybody else. I don't know if it matters too much, you know? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these skills. I think they're all looking really cool. I'm just really hoping that the other skills that get reworked are just as powerful, if not as like better than these new ones. Because I don't want all the old skills to get completely overshadowed by new skills. Like, I'd like to see every spell come out on top at some point during this league, right? Most likely going to be based off whatever the top streamers are playing, but I don't know. I want to see all three of these, and I want to see, like, Firestorm, Flame Surge. Flame Surge we haven't seen in forever. I don't know. Ice Storm? I don't know if they're going to rework Ice Storm, the Whispering Ice one. That'd be cool as well. Or if they rework, like, Glove Enchants, because some of those are spells as well. The cast on hit ones, like, of Flames and of Ire and whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm really excited about this league, though. I mean, all this stuff is, like, not even league content. This is just awesome. So, pretty cool for standard players as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the spoiler video. The previous one is linked in the description. And I will see you in the next one. That'll be Demi out.